Today. Good morning. How was your yesterday? We're just going to wait for a few people to join in. It's a good time to pick up the Zoom link and send to your network. It's going to be a fantastic session today. We are talking about ABC of setting up a business. A lot of us are still at that stage where we are trying to to how we can convert this into a solution. So ladies and gentlemen, please share with your network, your friends, your co-entrepreneurs. This is a good time to get everyone on board. We're just going to give people a few more minutes and then we'll start shortly. We're here, the entire Barabiri team is here. We are waiting, we are eager to start. Our facilitators are even on ground, so we are waiting. We are waiting for people to join in, and in a few minutes, we are going to start the session. Welcome again. It's fantastic to see everybody. Welcome. Good morning, everybody. Welcome again. Welcome for those that are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. It's good to have you here today. Yesterday was the orientation day. If you were here yesterday, can I see in the chat room? Say hi, I was here yesterday. It was a fantastic session yesterday. We had the quintessential Joyce Daniels, and she did justice to the orientation. Everybody that was here yesterday now understands what Barafiri is, the origin of the name, how it was conceptualized, and what value Barafiri is going to do to their business. And for those that were not available yesterday, that's fine. All is not lost. We are going to put together a video and share in the WhatsApp group. It's a good time to join the WhatsApp group because that's where we're going to be sharing it. It's important that you understand exactly what Barafiri is and how it can give value for your business. So today, we are super excited what's going to happen today. Today will be the first day of the training. We are going to be speaking about the ABC of business. But first, let me just do a brief recap of what this entire process would look like. First, we had the orientation yesterday. That's the step one. So onboarding on the Barafiri infrastructure. Yesterday was fantastic, like I said, and today is the first day of step two. That's training. And you would agree with me that the first place to start is how do we even begin to start a business? What is the first thing that I have to do as an entrepreneur to start a business properly? We have the duo of Prince Phil, Common Evil, and Barrister Efusa Ibinoba. I'll be introducing them in a few minutes, but for now, let's just take you through a few ground rules. So please have your phones muted. The question and answer session, we are going to leave it till the end of the presentation. We're going to first take the presentation of Prince Will, and then we're going to go ahead and take the presentation of Barrister. Prince will be speaking to how to conceptualize a business, how to even identify the concept of a business. A lot of us are still struggling with how to marry an idea to a solution. And then the big question of how do I create a business plan? Rachel is going to be speaking to that in a bit. And then our barrister will take us through the legalities of how to start a business. Ground rules, please. Let's have our phones muted. We are going to have questions at the end of this session. This session will end with a Barafiri in-house representative speaking to how the infrastructure would be able to give you this service, how would guide you on the Barafiri platform on how to set up your business. Just a quick run through the curriculum. Today is the 1st of July. We are having the ABC for setting up a business. The next session will be 14th of July 2021, and we're having Chukuma Amubi take basic tools for business in the 21st century. Then we're having promoting your business for maximum returns. That will be happening on the 21st of July 2021, and it will be taken by Paul Fo. Then on the 4th of August 2021, we're having customer as a business asset to be taken by Chinyaka Hedo. And then the next one will be 18th of August 2021. The topic is on financing your business, and it will be taken by Paul Keneye. Then sustainability and scalability of business. We know that even after you have started your business, you need to be able to sustain it. And at some point, you would want to scale. So we have a seasoned financial management expert, Dr. Priya Angaye, to take that topic. And finally, the 7th session of this series will be taken by Madam Chinelo Ikechebelo. She is a grounded human resource professional, and she'll be doing justice to the topic, people and business performance. What is a business without its people? It's the people that will get the business done. So having gone through that, I would bring in Prince Will Pamo. Prince Will is a seasoned investment and wealth manager with an extensive commercial and technical awareness, who is currently a senior associate at Hamilton and George, in charge of investment banking and distribution. They have managed portfolios in excess of over 1 billion USD within a period of 5 years. Prince Will's key strengths are strategy, project origination, and management. He's in sales. He has experience in sales, business development, business growth. Prince Will shares a social investment outlook with specific focus in SME growth. This disposition has enabled him to interface both nascent and mature clients who have consistently delivered value. He brings this wealth of experience into the Barafiri training series for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our first facilitator of the day, Prince Will Pamo. Prince Will, you have the floor.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Good to speak with you and engage with you. I believe that as we progress, we will have the opportunity of the privilege of engaging with each and every one of you in person and getting to know the amazing things that you're doing with your respective businesses and all. So that said, I will just go quickly right into the day's activity. May I just indulge the moderator to just quickly allow me to share my screen so I can proceed. The host will need to enable me to share my screen. All right. All right, so today we'll be talking about the ABC for setting up a business, as Mrs. Chinyaka just rightly put it. The entire intent is to see how we can conceptualize the product or a service that delivers value. So, you know, sometimes we have a lot of ideas, waking up and you get to have an idea of starting up a business. How do I go about it? But the first step is for you to conceptualize exactly what you want to do. Once you're able to do that, that will you to put together all of the key requirements that a business will need. So it's not a one-day process. So as you embark on the first step is to conceptualizing, having the mental idea or understanding of what you want to do. That will enable you to put that into paper, which will guide the entire process. So that's just a brief overview of what the conceptualization is for every business, irrespective of whether the business is just an idea, as it were, or a product that you're already hoping to start. So I'll just go right in. And so that's my first slide. So yes, like I said, value conceptualization and planning. So when you're able to have a mental picture of what you want to do, then you'll be able to put the plan together. So that now brings us back to our conversation on setting up a business plan and what are the key components of a business plan. And sometimes the reality is most of the entrepreneurs that I've engaged over the past is sometimes they have a business plan, but the reality is what they do is completely different from the business plan. So most people will tell me that, the business plan is just a document, but we understand that the operating environment sometimes can be very challenging, but the benefit of having a business plan is to guide the entire process. And it is very vital, especially when you want to start raising capital for expansion and all of that. One of the key requirements that a lender offers is a business plan that will enable them to look at and assess your assumptions, look at the vision itself, look at how bankable it is, and all of those metrics that they will use to assess your capacity for the loan or financial support that you are seeking. So the key components of a business plan. So first, you need to have what they call the executive summary. So the way it works is sometimes there are two sides of it. So the business plan usually applies to small businesses, but for a large ticket project or businesses, there's what they call the information memorandum, which is a bit more on an executive brief note. So for the purpose of entrepreneurs and of course, for most of us here who have done one or two businesses or who are thinking of doing a business and wants to, have a proper plan, and with the intent to use that plan to secure funding and the lending support, you will need to go through at least each of these components that will be discussed. Executive summary. What the executive summary simply does for you is just to give you an overview of the entire business. What I mean by overview, the description of the business, what is that specific value that your business is seeking to deliver. Then, of course, very much importantly, is the objectives. So what I mean by objective is what do you aim to achieve with the value that you're doing, be it a service or a product, right? So for example, if an entrepreneur wants to go into, let's say, fashion, what is the objective of the fashion? What's the description of the fashion value itself? So you need to now ask your questions around, do I want to start up a bespoke line, or do I want to focus on ready to wear? So those are some of the key areas or some of the key questions that will be answered under the executive summary area. So moving on from that, you now have, once that is sorted out, then you now have what they call the marketing plan. So once you set up a marketing plan, the marketing plan aspect will contain the description of the product, which is very vital. Then an industry analysis. You need to be able to understand your market that you're playing in. So for example, if you're playing in fast moving consumable goods, that's FMCGs and the rest, you need to be able to understand the industry, what are the key requirements around it, just have an industry analysis, then how the industry itself is currently is. You look at the current industry trends and all of that. So for example, if you are a fashion designer, you need to understand what is the reigning designs, what are the kind of fabrics that will intrigue the industry, all of those kind of very key analysis will be covered under the marketing plan. Then you also have the potential challenges in the business industry. So what are the key challenges? Of course, you need to highlight them. And one of the repeated responses I get in this area is funding, which is very vital. Most entrepreneurs will say, potential challenges is funding and funding. Yes, that is true. But if you don't have all of this business plan in black and white, it will be difficult for you to secure the kind of lending support that you need to grow your business. Of course, the value proposition is there. After identifying the value, so how do you want to present the value? That's what the value proposition speaks to. Of course, like I said, the target market. So for example, if you're a fashion designer, what is your target market? Do you want to now make dresses or clothes for women alone, or you want to make dresses for men? Even within the target market, there are specific segmentation, right? So segmentation will now speak to the specific target. So once you identify that, then you can now be able to put a structure around the marketing that can get to that endpoint. So when that is identified, of course, you now have the marketing strategy. On that, then you need to now start asking yourself, how do I now market my value to my potential target market? So what medium do I use? Do I do the social media? Do I have word of mouth? Do I start with family and friends and all of that? So how do I push my product? How do I launch my product, my brand, and all of those things? So the marketing strategy will speak to each of those critical areas. Then, of course, you now have the distribution strategies and sales methods. So how do you now do sales? Do you now have to go through the brick and mortar system, or do you have an online platform where you more or less have a channel to reach out to your customers and make transactions happen? So those are some of the key areas that we'll be highlighting under the distribution strategies and sales methods. So beyond that, there's also the online marketing strategies that you can adopt. Of course, we know that at this time, social media has become one of the key instruments for online marketing and all of that, which is very, very effective, I must say. And that has eased up the entire process. So you can take advantage of all of that and set up online marketing strategies. And of course, we have very strong online marketing support system within the Barra Free framework that will help you with all of that. So moving beyond that, you now have, of course, you need to have budget. So what am I spending on my marketing? How much do I need to spend? So you need to match the expenses to the expected revenue that is to come from the sales of the revenue, of the value itself. So under the marketing budget, that's where you need to have line items and also put a pricing on each of those units, the unit cost for, let's say, marketing budget. Let's say, okay, so I want to start, let's say, I want to start making bread, for example. So what is the marketing strategy? So okay, branding is one of it. What do I need to do? Okay, branding is going to cost me X, Y, Z. I need to get this. I need to sort out my logistic, my distribution. It's going to cost me this. So your budgeting is very critical at this point. It has to be very realistic at the same time. So when you setting up a business plan, sometimes the business plan is used for two purposes. One, for the purpose of capital raising. Then the other is for the purpose of guiding the entire day-to-day operations of the business, to making sure that every day that you wake up, every activity that you take is in line with the vision that you've highlighted for the business. So you know that, so when you have this time and repeatedly, you know that there is a guide. So whenever you're going astray, whatever you need to do, that it just simplifies the entire process. So a business plan is very, very, very vital for every business, irrespective of whether you're just starting off or the business is already just in existence or on all of that. So a business plan is a daily Bible for every entrepreneur or business. Then of course you need to now have under the marketing plan what they call the competitive analysis. So here we'll quickly give you an idea of your competition in the industry. So for example, if you are, let's say, making household detergent and all of that, you need to now have an idea of who is doing the same product within that industry, within that subsector. So you need that competitive analysis will give you an idea on the pricing that they are doing. So if you have an idea of the pricing that your competitor is offering, that will give you an idea on how to, present your pricing in a way that you have a cost advantage over the competition. So it's on this competitive analysis page that you'll be able to, number one, highlight your competition, then highlight what they're doing. Then once you do that, then you will now have an idea of how you want to leverage on this information that you now have available in presenting your value to the target market. So competitive analysis is very vital. So those are some of the areas or some of the key components that should be covered under a marketing plan when preparing a business plan. So we'll just move on to the next slide. Then of course you have the operational plan. So operational plan, you now have under the operational plan, you have the, of course, the day-to-day business operations, right? Sometimes this segment is both theoretical and the practicality of this particular area, it's, let's say I will give it a 50, because sometimes you can't put black and white, you can't write what will happen tomorrow. So if there is a new reality, it's definitely going to affect your operations. A classic example of is the coronavirus and the ensuing lockdowns. Of course, nobody thought that there will be a time where businesses will be shut down. People will be restricted from movement and all of that. So if you have a business plan and you put your operational plan without factoring in the current realities like the lockdowns, the virus, the restrictions, the movement, and all of those things, you see the problems that we all small businesses and all of us are going through. So yes, operational plan is good, but in terms of practicality, it is a 50%. So sometimes, yes, you have this black and white written down and you follow the process, but it is not a generic guide for every business. So it depends on the nature of your business. And that's how you can now operationalize your plan and put it into paper that will guide your everyday. So once you do that, you have your pricing strategy. Of course, when you have an advantage, when you've identified your target market and also done your competitive analysis, that will now give you an idea of the pricing you will be willing to offer. So based on that, that information that you've already highlighted, you will now have a strong position of offering a better choice to your target end users. So beyond that, then you now, of course, have a milestone. So you need to be able to track the milestone, the progress milestone of the business. So for example, of course, you just conceptualize an idea, you set up a business plan, is a milestone. So what you need to do probably is, okay, I want to get funding, to move the business away from bed to my head to see that the business is now a tangible asset or a tangible product that I can now hold in my hand. So that is a milestone. So you need to be able to identify each of the milestones across the value chain of the business. So the value chain starts from the conceptualization. You need to see it in your head. Then now you need to have an operational plan around it, which is more or less your business plan. So the operational plan is very, very critical. It's very critical. It's very critical. I cannot emphasize the need to have an operational plan. So that operational plan depends, like I said, it depends on the industry that you're involved in. You could be into manufacturing. So of course you need to now have operational plan around your day-to-day activities in manufacturing. If you're into fashion designing, you need to have a day-to-day plan around fashion designing. So that's how it flows. So there needs to be a proper day-to-day business activity that should be highlighted. Number one, they need to have a pricing strategy. Then of course, the milestones that you need to put together as well. So moving beyond that, of course, you need to have an organizational and management plan. This is very critical. During my time with engaging with most entrepreneurs is when they come to funding and you tell them they need to have a proper organizational structure, the first thing they will tell me is, I don't want to lose my business. Please, I don't want to do this. I want to be the sole owner of my business. You get that a lot, but you see that as the business grows, there is need. I know that is going to be a separate topic, but just know that yes, while it's good for you to be the sole owner of your business, it's not also good for you to be the sole owner of your business. And that is because you need to be able to share your risk, which is very, very, very vital and critical. Most entrepreneurs is, please leave my business alone. I engaged with one. There was a time that a certain lady wanted to raise funds from BOI, and she came to me and she was like, oh, she wanted to raise funds for a new product line that she wanted to do and that she doesn't want to. And we now valued her assets. We saw that she wanted about 10 million at the time. And we saw that the asset she had on ground was less than $1 million. So what that meant was the new investor that will probably be coming in as equity partner will have majority share of the business, right? So that's just the common sense, but usually entrepreneurs will not want that, but there's a way we can work around all of that to have a proper structure that will make sure that, of course, you'll have a controlling interest of your business and also having the flexibility, of getting investment into your business in such a way that you don't lose your controlling interest on those. Vital that you have that organizational structure clearly highlighted. So the ownership structure of the business needs to be highlighted. And then this usually applies when you're raising money. So your lenders will need to see the ownership structure, if it's a sole proprietorship or if it's a limited liability company, and all of those very key components that comes with it. And of course, very important is they need to have a promoter's profile. That is, your profile will need to be there. So you are the first point of, you are the salesperson of your business. So your profile needs to speak to your business. So whatever they see you, they see your business. Whatever they see your business, they see you. So it's intertwined. So you need to have a very strong profile that will be appealing to your target market. So, and of course, a profile is something that you will continuously update as you grow in the business. And that, so beyond all of that, of course, you now have the company organogram, which will clearly show you the reporting lines and who is doing what and who is what and who is heading what and that. So you usually have the chief executive officer or the creative director, which is cascades down to your salespersons, to your logistics, to your HRO, to your admin, and all of those. So it's a very critical component for every business to have an organizational and management plan. So these are some of the key areas that are captured within the organizational plan. So we'll just quickly move to the next slide. Of course, business risk and mitigating factors. So here is very critical. You need to be able to, as much as possible, identify the possible risk, operating risk in that particular enterprise. So some of that risk, for example, if you're into fashion, of course, you need to factor in the cost. One of the risks is, okay, for example, the most realistic one that each and every one of us on this call will relate to is the coronavirus. That is a business risk. We know of 1,001 entrepreneurs or businesses that have closed down due to the impact of corona. Understand? So if by chance we're able to identify at least a remote percentage of the perceived risk clearly identified, we should be able to put a mitigating factor around it. So for example, if you now have like a shop or a store where you sell your product, and of course there is a lockdown, your mitigating factor will probably be, oh, there is need for me to have an online presence. So whilst I cannot have in-persons coming to the store, I have an online presence that everyone can access at the tip of their finger, at their mobile phones and whatever gadgets that they will be using to interact with me. Of course, so those are the very critical business risks that you need to, there's an operational risk. There's also the risk around finance. There's also risk. There's a whole bunch of risk, but depends on the specificity of your business and the industry that you operate. You need to be able to put out all of this risk and attach a mitigating factors to it. And of course, you have 1,001 support structure within Barafree that will assist you with all of this. And I'm sure as you progress on it, you'll be able to have access to all of that support ecosystem. So beyond that, there's also the SWOT analysis where you have your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. So under the SWOT analysis, you'll be able to identify what are the strengths of your value, of your business, right? What is the differentiating factor of your business? So under the weaknesses, will probably sometimes people, so most times people do not put the necessary weaknesses under the SWOT analysis. They'll just generalize the entire concept. So for a typical entrepreneur, weaknesses will be, okay, I don't have okay, so they probably say the operating environment of Nigeria. They will talk on issues surrounding energy. Of course, me having to, take on the full risk of running a business. I don't have a government support structure that provides my electricity. I have to sort out so those are some of the areas that should be covered under your weaknesses, because every lender or every partner or whoever that is going to see that business plan is going to be able to relate to each of those key items or key components that will be covered under the SWOT analysis. Then of course you have your weaknesses, you have the SWOT, you have your strength, weaknesses, and of course the opportunities within the industry that you're operating in. So one of the opportunities you need to identify is, okay, what are the opportunities available in this industry? So once you have a target market, that target market clearly ties to some of the opportunities that you have. then the opportunity also relates to the specific differentiating factor that your business. So how are you doing things differently from the competitor? So those are some of the opportunities. Then the opportunities will also be in the area of investments that you've identified that you will need to do. Then of course, the threats. What are the threats to my business? I don't have the required capital to expand my business the way that I have highlighted or the way the growth has been stipulated. So I don't have the kind of funding I need, or I don't have the kind of human resources I need to handle all of that. So the SWOT analysis is very critical, and it's something that every business is, as far as you put together a business plan, you will need to have. So there's some of the key areas under this specific component. So moving beyond that, of course, you have the big man, the financial plan. So the financial plan is it's a process that continues all through the life cycle of a business. So financial plan is not something that you start today. Because you've done today, you're not going to do tomorrow. So it's you repeat continuously life cycle of a business. So the financial plan, key components that needs to be covered, it's the capital requirement. So once you've identified the value to the market, you should be able to have an idea of the cost, the capital requirement for executing that particular product or starting up that particular business or expanding on an already existing business. So you need to be able to put numbers into that. So the capital requirement will usually state the amount you're looking for to expand your business or either start up a business. So once that is identified, the next step is to the use of funds. So what do you want to use this funding for? What do you want to use this capital for? So usually the use of fund is in two ways. So you have what they call the capital expenditure. Then you also have what they call the operating expenditure. So the use of fund either speaks to either of these key areas. So it's either to say, oh, I want to start up a new business, and the use of fund is capital expenditure. So capital expenditure will probably speak to, okay, I want to start up a new fashion line. So what do I need? I need to buy new sewing machines. I need to get a generator set. I need to get a weaving machine. I need to do this. So those are some of the capital expenditure items that are covered under the financial plans. Identify those key areas, your CAPEX and your OPEX, then you now have underlying line items underneath each of these. So you should be able to put unit prices of each of those expenditure, which will tally into the total capital requirement that you are requesting for. Then of course you have the revenue profile. So revenue profile will probably speak to how much my business is expected to generate, right? So you should be able to, once you've identified the capital requirement, you know the use of funds. Of course, you know that once you are spending money to make more money. So it's just a common sense. So you're spending more money to make more money. So you should be able to tell us under the revenue profile that, okay, this is the assumptions that I have. These are the estimations that I have for the proposed revenue profile of my business. So the revenue profile will have usually what the business is bringing in, how much the business is generating, and all of those very vital financial information. Then of course you have the cash flow. The cash flow just speaks to two. So it just gives you an idea or identify just two aspects, and that is the cash that is coming in and how the cash is going out. So it directly ties to your revenue profile. So your cash flow, how much your business is generating, then how much your business is spending, on the operational side of it. So financial plan is in fact the most critical aspect of a business plan. I cannot emphasize the need to have a proper financial plan when engaging with your target market, target audience, or be it a financier, be it an investor, or be it a lender. So there needs to be a strong financial plan that will guide the business every step of the way. So as new realities begin to emerge, and of course, what we are facing currently in Nigeria around Forex. Those of us that are into export and import trade, you understand that you are very vulnerable to Forex. So your cash flows, your revenue assumptions should, have all of those emerging realities factored into your financial plan. Your financial plan should be enough that you can easily modify, according to emerging market realities. So I cannot, the financial plan is perhaps the key or number one thing that every investor, every lender, or every stakeholder who is part of your business audience will need to see, right? Even before they start looking at the business case, is the financial. So we cannot emphasize the importance of that. So you are in the right place. You have more than qualified support system within Barafree that will help you with all of that. So financial plan is very, very, very critical. So that's it for the financial plan. And these are some of the areas that are covered in the business plan. So thank you everyone for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much. And this is the end of my conversation at the time. So I'm available to.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. I am sure that we've learned a great deal. The matter of a business plan is so important, especially if you want to scale your business. One of the first things that any investor is going to ask to see is a business plan, because it's a document that gives them the idea of exactly what it is, that you know exactly what it is that you want to do. And then you have a plan, you've done your projections, financial projections. You saw how much our facilitator emphasized on having an operational plan and a financial plan. The conversation continues. Today, we're talking about the ABC of business. We will be bringing our barrister at law on board. He is already in the house. I would like to share his profile. I'll share his profile in a minute. His profile in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are taking notes. I hope you are taking notes. So we have Efosa, Barrister Efosa Esquire. So Efosa Ibinoba Esquire is a solicitor and advocate of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. He has a Bachelor's of Law from the Ambrose Ali University and a Barrister at Law from the Nigerian Law School. He is a consummate professional who has 10 years of practice experience. His practice area has included statutory and regulatory compliance, contract drafting, administration and management, company secretarial services, litigation, intellectual property, amongst others. Efosa is a member of the Institute of Chartered Arbitrators UK, Nigerian branch, the International Bar Association, and the Nigerian Bar Association. His published works and articles include Law in International Diplomacy, an expose on the Petroleum Industry Bill, Affirmative Action, A History and Significance. Efosa currently works as a legal counsel with Century Energy Services Limited and Delta Deporter Logistics Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Barrister Efosa to give us his legal perspective on the ABC of business. Welcome, Efosa.
Thank you very much, Chichi. Wonderful presentation by Prince. Thank you for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. We've all heard the requirement, the business aspects of setting up a company. Now you would want to go a step further. I don't want to, host, I don't know if I can get the opportunity to share my screen so that my presentation can. Okay, so hello, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can. Efosa, we can see your screen.
Oh, good. So I'll just take you through my presentation. We'll just look at the legal bits of setting up a contract now that we're all aware of everything we need to do in terms of setting up a business from the business perspective. Now you also want to look at the legal perspective. You want to know what type of company you like to set up. They also like to know the type of documentations you need to have in place and all that. So now in setting up a company, You have to know the body responsible for that. That is the regulatory body, which is the Corporate Affairs Commission. The Corporate Affairs Commission is currently headquartered in Abuja. Previously, you could only approach them physically to make the process easy for people who would like to register businesses. They set up branches in different states of the federation. But however, the good news is that they now have new guidelines that will allow you to register companies from any part of the country. In fact, any part of the world, for that matter, as long as you can present what is required of you on the website. So the website to go is the pre.cac.gov.ng. Now, in approaching them, you just go and log on the site. The people who can go on are individuals who wish to register their own business. You go on the site, you create your account, you do what's required, just follow the steps, they are self-explanatory. Follow the steps, and you are able to access the registration portal, which I have given here. Another set is accredited professionals. These include lawyers, accountants, chartered secretaries, and otherwise. These particular sets are able to register, go beyond just registering businesses for themselves. They can register for themselves and also register for individuals as well who wish to register businesses. It's important that you are well advised before you go and register your business or before you even log on. You have to be armed with information on the type of business you seek to register. Is it a limited liability company? Is it a business name? If it's a limited liability company, is it, you understand the concept of memorandum and articles of association, issued share capitals, and all that? That's all we want to speak to at this point, at this presentation. We've had individuals who tried logging on as individuals to register, and at the end of the day, they still come back to start asking the professionals, sorry, sir, what is a memorandum articles of association? How do I fill it? Understand? So you don't want to be caught in that conundrum. The best thing to do is read up on what is required. If you do not have the funds to approach an accredited professionals, read up on what is required, go on the site. It's very easy. It's self-explanatory. You could go develop, complete the form, and you'll be registered. So that's that for how you can approach the CAC presently, which is online. So we'll go to the next, what you need to do next. So now you've accessed the portal, what do you need to do? So you'll be prepared with a preferred name for your company. We'll use, for example, ABC Nigeria Limited is your preferred name. That's the name you want to register. There's a part of the portal you submit the preferred name and other alternatives. Sometimes they give you room for a minimum of 2 other alternatives. You key in 2 other alternatives and you submit it. When you submit, you're either shown that the name is available or has been taken over by someone else. The reason for this is to prevent names of different companies from clashing so that you do not go and misrepresent somebody else's business. So if your name as a company ought to be unique to you as an individual or as a business. So if you register ABC Nigeria Limited and that person registered ABC Nigeria Limited, the risk is there that they can be passing off. You could appear that you appear as ABC Nigeria Limited, whereas you are not the real ABC Nigeria Limited, which gives room for all sorts of confusion. So that's why you have to go through the route of submitting a preferred name. The CAC has to check whether it's available. If it's available, then they reserve it. As if your name is reserved, it's reserved for 60 days. And after that, you're given an availability code. That availability code enables you to go on to other parts of the portal to commence your registration. That is what you refer to while doing your registration. So after that, you access the part of the portal where you access the part of the portal that has the forms. You complete the forms to show the number of directors, the number of shareholders, the shareholding, the address of your company. You have to upload the signature of the directors and shareholders in the required fields. Then, based on the number of shares your company have, you are told to also pay a filing fee. The filing fees usually is calculated per the number of shares you wish your company have. It's there. As soon as you fill it in, the information comes out and you have the details to go and make the payment. You're also able to access the part for completion of your memorandum and articles of association. The memorandum and article of association is the governing document of your company that shows the type of business to and how you intend to transact your business, those who are involved in the business. It also shows part as the shares that has been subscribed and all that. So those are forms that you complete. So as soon as you've completed the form, you move on to the next stage of your registration after paying the required fees, which is the completion stage. Now, this is you've submitted it for approval. Once you've submitted, at the back end, the CAC checks to ensure that your documentation has been completed in accordance with the requirement. They also check to see that you paid the fee, and if there are any issues, perhaps you've not paid the fee or you've not paid the required fee, you are issued a query. The query comes in, and when you check on the status of your registration, you see a query if you have not completed the required process. And you see if the nature of the query and what you need to do to satisfactorily answer the query is clearly spelled out, and you provide whatever is required of you and you submit again. Now, if you satisfactorily answered the query or you completed the forms, a certificate will be issued to you. Now, this certificate is unlike in the past. What used to happen is that they will inform you that your original certificates, which are physical copies, are ready and document evidencing the registration of your company, which is namely your certificate of incorporation, your memorandum articles of association, your CAC 273 as it is. You're called upon to come collect it at the CAC, and you go there, you pick up. However, under the new dispensation, you're given a link that has your documentation in soft copies. The advantage of this is you can print as many original copies as you like for purpose of submitting to the banks while opening your account, or for submitting to the Federal Inland Revenue Service while doing your tax registration. So that's that for registration of the company. I'll just have to take you through some new developments that happened under the new dispensation, like I talked about, which saw the need to ease doing business. CAMA 2020 is the new law that governs company registration, formation, and management, and everything that has to do with company administration. And this is as administered by the Corporate Affairs Commission. This was signed into law by the President on the 7th of August 2020. Unlike the old law, there have been some good and new changes that have been introduced that would definitely improve the ease of doing business in Nigeria. In the past, you could not register as a single member or a shareholder. You need at least one more person to join you to register a business, a company. But now you can register a limited liability company as a single shareholder, as a single director. So if you are also a small company, you don't need, previously you had to appoint an auditor. There's a need for you to appoint an auditor, but under the new dispensation, under the new law, it's not compulsory for you to appoint an auditor. This also keeps in line with the FRS provision these days of small companies whose profit margin are not beyond a certain threshold or turnover. You may not necessarily pay tax. It's just so that to increase more people to come on board, to register business, do business, and also improve the economy. Now, the most important and significant part of it is the introduction of the statement of compliance. In the past, to register a company, you needed to complete a Form CAC4, which cannot be completed by you as the individual. You need an accredited professional, which in this sense is a lawyer, a secretary, or a chartered accountant who is duly accredited with the CAC to complete that form for you. However, you could, under the new dispensation, what you just simply need to do is to put in your statement of compliance that you've complied with the relevant provisions of the law, and you file accordingly. And once that form is there, definitely your registration will be done accordingly, and you'll be issued the relevant document showing that you've duly registered and your business is fully incorporated. So those are some of the changes that were introduced under the CAMA 2020. And that's just a brief rundown of what you need to do to be formally or legally registered as a business in Nigeria. Thank you, Chichi. That'll be all from me.
Thank you so much, Barrister Efosa. I was taking notes, I was scribbling a few things that this CAMA 2020 was not very clear to me, but thank God for the inspiration of Efosa. You have been able to demystify some of my confusions, and I'm sure it's the same for some of the people on this call. Thank you very much for doing justice to that, Barrister. But I also know that 1 hour, 30 minutes is not enough time to exhaust what it takes to start up a business. We have the WhatsApp group where the conversation continues. But before that, I will be bringing in the Barafiri representative. You know that Barafiri can help you, can hold your hand as you try to set up a business. I'm going to invite Ifeoma to come and tell us how Barafiri infrastructure would help us do this. Ifeoma, over to you. Welcome, Ifeoma.
Thank you very much, Chichi. Thank you very much, Chichi, and thank you to Mr. Pritzwell and Barrister Efosa. Thank you for the insightful training session you just gave us now. I'm sure a lot of us have learned a lot from this. Thank you to the speakers on what you've taught us on the ABC of setting up a business. The good news is Barafiri can help you with the ABC of setting up your business. Everything that you have heard here today, you can enjoy on Barafiri. When you come on board Barafiri, your business will be profiled and segmented into different industries. This would help you as a business owner to better understand your categorization and the space in which you can find your target customer. We have a back-end business support service, which is business consultancy. The business consultant, they're on Barafiri to give you guidance to help you serve your target customers efficiently and give your business a strong foundation in relation to everything that you've heard here today and much more. They are there to guide you through the process of creating a business plan, as what Mr. Princeville has talked about. And if you're struggling getting your business registered, they can give you insights on the steps to take, just as Barrister Foster has also talked about. We have so many activities that will be happening on Barafiri and different service providers to attend to you. You might get overwhelmed by choice or by overlapping pressing needs. For a business consultant to be there to give you clarification and guidance. So everything you've heard today, just know that you're going to enjoy the activities on Barafiri. Thank you.
Fantastic, guys. I'm sure you were just waiting for that point to know how exactly, because this whole thing can be overwhelming. How exactly is Barafiri, how does Barafiri come in all of this? We would guide you. There's a lot. It can be overwhelming for someone that just wants to start a business. So we would guide. through the process. This is the question and answer session. If you have questions, this is the time where you can put it on the comment section. If you have any questions, time to put it on the comment section, please. We had a question earlier. We have our barrister, he's still on standby. Our barrister is still on standby. He would take the questions. We also have our investment banker ready to take your questions. There was a question earlier. It was in the comment section. It was in the comment section. I'll just retrieve it. I'll retrieve it. So a gentleman had asked on the chat section. He said, how do we get templates to analyze our business? Okay, I can speak to that one. So that's why you have Barafiri. Barafiri would guide you through this process. A template is usually generic. What Barafiri will help you do is speak to your specific need. You know that there are so many people, just as on this call alone, we have 23 people, and these 23 people will have different ideas of how they want to run their business. So Barafiri will help you meet your specific need. When it's time after the training series and we've gone to the validation process and you get on board Barafiri, then we'll be able to handhold you through this process. He also asked, what type of risk do we categorize the ban of e-handling sector by? I think that ban was during the Governor Ambode. Efosa, you want to take that? He wants to know how to categorize that risk for his business. Maybe you should give us a bit of context here. What business are you in, so that when Barrister is speaking, he can speak directly to you so that you can get a better understanding. Hello? Hello? It was Mr.
Hello?
Okay, yes, go ahead, Mr. Laide. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, presenters, and thank you for putting this together and for the moderation. Yeah, I have both products and service-based startup. Is that clear?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. We're listening.
Yeah, I said I have both service-based and product-based startup.
Okay, and then you want to understand how the e-hailing, was it e-hailing or e-handling
yes,
sector?
it's e-hailing. These are guys that do Okada, they go Okada and the rest of them. So
Right.
the reason is that when in the context of doing SWOT analysis of your company, my view is the ban was not foreseen, and possibly I wouldn't know whether the risk was identified otherwise, because some of these guys just raised huge amount of money and the bank came and everything, the business does not, they have to pay for it, but in reality, cannot be as if they are still in the transportation sector.
Barrister, you want to take that, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Alain, for your question. Regulations is a key aspect of business. That's why I also do compliance. It's important you are able to know, or you're clear on the regulations that guide your business. And key among this is government policy, like you mentioned the Okada issue some time back, where the government just came on board and banned Okadas, which also unfortunately affected the Okada business. Now, for regulation, there's not much you can do, especially if it's governmental regulation. So your best bet is to do your due diligence very well, check to see with the appropriate regulatory agency to see what policies are in place for such business that you want to do. Check that you can or you do necessarily have the power or the might to meet the the regulatory requirements. And if you see, all this should come under your analysis, and when you are doing your checks, you must have a checklist of all these things. So that it's a big issue here. That's why we have less foreign direct investment, because people are not sure. 1 minute you're doing business, the next minute there's a government policy that has come on board to change business, and you are not able to do that business anymore, which is the key case of Bukada. So your best bet as always is get a professional. If you are not able to get the regulatory requirements, know what the regulatory requirements are, and if unfortunately, as happens sometimes that the governmental policy does impact your business, you definitely have to look for the next best thing on how to convert your business, like the Bukada business. Many of them converted to delivery services and all that. Understand? So, but we do hope that governmental policy on regulations, especially on regulation of business, is more steady, so that people are sure of what to do. But if you are able to address yourself with requirements and regulation requirements, then you're okay.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Barrister. Just to add to that, it's also important when you're about to start a business that you try to watch out for the body language of the policy makers. They drop information sometimes in their manifestos just before they come into government. It happens sometimes that they bring something from the blues, but usually their body language always tends to where they are going to be leaning towards. What can help you do that is to join networks. You can join networks, and you can join forums that could give you information on policies and projections on where the government is going to tend to. Barafiri is a platform that will be available to share information of this sort. So you are in the right place. You are in the right place. And I hope we responded to your concerns, Laide.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other question? Any other question, please? I have a question. I have a question. Okay. They want you to expand, Barrister, please. They want you to expand on personal registration of business with CAC without going through the 3 middlemen. This person says, in a case whereby another question. Person says, in a case whereby someone misplaces the original copy of their certificates, what steps would this person have to take?
Okay. Good. Okay, I'll take it without going through middlemen. Like I said during the presentation, you don't need to go through the middlemen anymore. You don't need to go through, it's not compulsory for you to go through a registered or an accredited professional with the Corporate Affairs Commission. You can easily go yourself. It's now online to just fill in the forms, you register, create your account at the pre.cac.gov.ng. You create your account, then you were able to register for yourself. However, there are technical details you must be abreast of. I've had people come to me to say, oh, I want to go and register my business. At the end of the day, they come to ask me, they come back to me and say, Barrister, which one is business name or limited liability company? How do I know the difference? Again, this thing is difficult. Which one is issued share capital and all that? So these are some very difficult or technical aspects that if you are not well informed or you don't have enough expertise that you improve the difference while you are on the platform. So it's good to approach an accredited professional. However, if you do not have the funds to approach the accredited professional, you definitely can requirements, look at them closely, ensure you have all the information, you are clear on what is required of you before you go there. That's the way you can. Well, however, you don't need to bother yourself so much. On the Barafiri platform, you can always come there. We are available to assist you with whatever your query is, however you need
yes, yes. Someone wants to know also that he was talking about the filing fee. Question is, the barrister said the filing fee depends on the number of shares of the company. What about the stamp duty fee? Barrister, please.
Yeah, that's another aspect. Yeah, the stamp duty fee is also fixed. Per hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Barrister, we can.
Okay. So
Okay. Someone is saying you're not audible. Could you be able
yes,
to?
that's right. So is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, so the stamp. Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so the stamp duty fee is also fixed per the number of shares you are registering. So it's calculated per, if you're doing a 1 million share capital, it's 8,500 per each share capital, then times the number of share capitals you're registering. So the calculator is there, and based on number of shares you would like to register, you are told what stamp duty fees you are required to pay. So that's it.
Right. Thank you, Barrister. Okay, someone is, Mr. Ibrahim is saying that the second question was not answered. Mr. Ibrahim, are you speaking to?
There's a second question. That's what I was just trying to answer.
All right.
That if you lose your original document, how do you, in the past, because CAC used to issue physical copies as original, people ran into the conundrum of how do I get back my physical document, original document, if I've lost them. So what you could do in the past was to apply to CAC, and they will issue you certified true copies of any of the documents you wish to reapply for that you've lost. However, under the new dispensation, it's easier, it's seamless. You don't need to have any, just go back to that link. That link, you can always access it. They don't issue you physical copies anymore. They only issue you soft copies. What you're advised to do is, as soon as those soft copies are issued, you save it somewhere, and you are able to print them as many times as possible. So that's it for those who lose their original documents. There's no issue of losing original documents again under the new dispensation.
Okay, thank God. Thank God for CAMA 2020.
Yeah.
We are grateful to the government for being so sensitive to the ease of doing business. Thank you so much, Barrister. Any other questions for Barrister? The conversation, like I said, continues on the WhatsApp group. Please join in on the WhatsApp group so that you can ask. Barrister will be there to take your questions. We would also be doing a photo session. So please, would you please, Mr. Ibrahim, I have your hands up. Also, Mr. Alaide, do you still have a question? You have time for a few more questions.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, thank you. I think the specific one I have for Barrister Evusa. Yeah, I want to know because, I did mention earlier, I have an agri-tech platform, but we discovered that so in essence, we are looking at incorporating an NGO so that because the way the sector look like is if we are looking at impact focus project to deal with the smallholder farmer, most of the initial acceptance, what is workable is when you do a demo with them, and of course that demo will be funded by someone. So we are considering incorporating an NGO. Can use that to work with partners, either local or international, to execute projects. So what's your stake about this?
Okay.
Possibly, do we begin to discuss about the cost implication, or we have to pass through the organization of the event? So I think.
Okay. So
okay. Sorry, before you answer the question, whatever, is it applicable to the NGO?
No, it's not. I just answered that quickly. It's not available. It's not applicable to your NGO. Now, in registering your NGO, this is registered under a different part of CAMA, which is the incorporated trustee part of Kama, you would like to register an incorporated trustee. Now, you have to know that different from what I've said earlier on, this is a not-for-profit organization you are registering. So the requirements are quite different from when you are registering a limited liability company or a company, so to say. So you definitely have to, you need to have, the requirements are clear. You need to have trustees. I guess you'll be one of the trustees. You will definitely need to have other people come on board with you as trustees. Then you need to have a constitution that governs your organization. The constitution says, which is like a type of MEMAT, but it's not called MEMAT. It's the constitution that guides your incorporated trustee, your NGO, that says these are the things you can do as an NGO, which is basically your governing document. You're also to adopt a common seal, hold a meeting prior to formation where you adopt the common seal. All these are the technical bits of forming an incorporated trustee. It's quite technical, and because of trying to ensure accountability in that aspect of business, because it opens a whole lot of opportunities for you in terms of getting grants, in terms of people want to support incorporated trustees or NGOs. You can get foreign.
Efosa, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I think I was muted. I don't know, said the host would like to mute you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. We did not hear the
much.
last few things you said.
Oh, okay. I said, so registering opens a whole lot of opportunities to you, both nationally and internationally. So they would like the requirements for registration are more stringent. I've listed the constitution, the common seal, having trustees. Then part of it too is and if
Efosa, you are muted, please.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so if there's no objection to your advertisement after a certain period, then you're back to the CAC to compare, and you are issued a certificate that you're registered under the Part C of Kama as an incorporated trustee. So that's the process. It's quite technical and detailed. So, but it's what we can help you do on the BioFree platform. Anytime you are ready, feel free to approach us after this presentation, and we will definitely be available to assist.
Thank you, thank you. I see Ibrahim, we can take a very brief question. Enoch, I see you as well. A quick question, please, because we're running out of time. Ibrahim, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to appreciate the barrister. I'm the one that asked the question of displacement of the certificate. Was old before the new comers. So what am I going to do? How am I going to apply for the new? For new certificates? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it's a good thing that you can still apply for your CTCs as well if you were pre the new CSE. Kama 2020. So you could apply for your certified true copy of your certificate of incorporation. Now, in case anybody is doubting your registered, what you just need to do is get a status report. The CSE has made a provision for a status report that shows that this company is registered. It's registered under this name. This is the number of shares it has. See that when it was registered and all that. So that's what you can use as a comfort document first before you go through the whole hog of paying for your certified true copy and get. It's easy. You go on the platform. If you are unable to do it, you can still approach us after the on the BioFree platform after the presentation. assist you with this, no doubt. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Enoch, the last question, please. Like I said, there'll be opportunities to ask all the questions you need on the WhatsApp group. Enoch, we'll take your question quickly, and then we can have our photo session so that we can close.
Okay, my question is to the first facilitator. When maybe preparing a business plan, he talked about competitors. So I want to know, maybe like a startup now. Let me give an example. Maybe a startup in, let's say, electric cars. Let's say, for instance, now. So if I'm preparing my business plan, if I'm supposed to list maybe let's say 3 or 4 competitors, is it supposed to be local? Maybe let's say, let me look into Nigerian market. Who are those competitors? Or it can be even outside. How did I get list of those?
Okay, so let me speak to that very quickly. So if you want to do a competitive analysis, what you need to do is to first think about who your target audience is. So if you're targeting people in the foreign markets, then you are looking at competitors in the foreign market. If you are targeting people only in Nigeria, then you look at your competitors in Nigeria. But if you want it to be across the globe, then you have to go online, like the information is online. In the case of electric cars, for example, you know, Tesla is your competitor. So you pick up Tesla and do a competitive and engage what it is that Tesla cannot do. The best way, of course, is to fill in a gap that Tesla does not currently fill, so that people will come to you for that specific value. Enoch? Enoch, are you there?
Yes,
Hello?
I'm with
You get that?
Yes, I get you.
All right. Okay, so it's 12:30. We know how busy you are in trying to run your business. Video 1 minute so that we can do a quick photo session. It's a virtual training, but we still want to be able to capture our faces. So just for the next 1 minute, please put your video on. Would like to do a quick photo session. Aki, I see you. If you put your question in the chat and indulgence of here, maybe we can take your question, but take our photo session. Please put on your videos. Thank you very much. Video and take a picture. Okay, are we ready? Please put on your videos. Our cameras are still off. It will be very brief. It will not affect your bandwidth at all. It will be very brief. We'll take a picture. Please put on your videos. Thank you. Please put on your videos so that we can make this quick, so that we can stick to the promise of 12:30 on the dot. Okay. Are we ready? Do we have the picture? All right. Thank you very much. Aki, I do not see, please, one final important question. Would this be beneficial to everybody? Go do a very quick one, but of course I cannot keep anybody. The conversation continues tomorrow. Aki, please go for it, please. Please, let's be very brief. I don't want to keep anybody over the specific time.
Hi, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep anyone waiting, but the question is that, for instance, my company, it's called X Plus Corporate Solutions, and I sort of want to have a whole bunch of other streams of, because I'm a service-based business. So I was wondering, okay, if I have such a name, but meanwhile I'm covering like events, and I'm covering like I have fashion accessories that I sell as well. So I'm pretty much like a jack of all trades, but I only have one company registered. So I was just wondering, like, should I want to set up like a fashion brand under the same company? Do I need to re-register for a new name, or is there any way I can have my fashion brand name attached to the already registered business name? That's my question.
Okay, Barrister, please.
Yeah, the short answer is you can do anything that your object clause. I hear you say it's a business name, so anything your object clause says you can do, you definitely can do. So what people do to bypass that is to have an omnibus clause in their object clause that allows them to do so much without stating specifically what they are going to do. But however, you don't need to delude yourself at certain points. Sometimes your business grows. You know this business or this line of your business has grown very well, and you cannot sufficiently cater for it under this same name that has another big business under it. So the advice to you there is to see how you can register another subsidiary and do business with that subsidiary. At the end of the day, you don't have your conflict and all that, and people don't look at you as unserious. You understand? So you would know based on what business is doing, the turnover and all that. But the easy way for you to start with is just have the omnibus clause. If you have not scaled, if you are yet to make great inroads, is to have that omnibus clause that allows you to do a lot, do everything. But if you see that the business has really grown and 2 or 3 of them are competing, then definitely you know that it's time to open a new business. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes,
thank you very
yes,
much.
yes. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And I see some more questions, but we're going to take them on the WhatsApp group. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for taking our time to be with us here today. I understand how very important your time is. Tomorrow, we will be speaking about basic tools for business in the 21st century. My apologies. So the next training is not tomorrow. I'm eager, I'm excited. But no, it's not tomorrow. So on the 14th of July, that will be the next training. So we're going to give you time to digest what it is that you have just heard today, ask more questions on the WhatsApp group. And then on the 14th of July, we are going to come back and speak to you about how to position your business digitally. That's the 21st century. For being here today. Please enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your weeks. Bye-bye. From the Barafiri team, it's goodbye for us. Thank you.